Okay, again, for those of you who are just joining us, we'll give it another minute for people who are still signing on. You probably still have time to grab a coffee. Okay, guys, thank you. Welcome, and let's get started. So my name is Tracy Hill, and I'll be guiding you through 5 tips and templates you can use for your benefits communication. There will be some time for Q&A at the end, and I'll send a follow-up email that will provide the SHRM code for today's session. So let's go ahead and get started here. So I wanted to go over what I'll share today. My focus here is on employee education. So I work for Lumity, and because Lumity performs open enrollment on behalf of our clients, I've spent the past several months steeped in benefits education, living and breathing benefits education. I've been learning what works well and for what types of companies. I work with Lumity clients for sure, but I'm also on our market research team. This means I get the chance to interview and learn from HR pros who aren't clients also. Folks that are across the US, across regions. It's a great way for me to keep a pulse on HR challenges and have interesting discussions, learn knowledge, share knowledge. And I really focus on bringing what I learn into improving the employee education for Lumity's clients. I've sat in on countless webinars myself. Some have been good, some not so good. Mostly I found that even the good benefits communications webinars put the burden of crafting communications back on you. That's why I really wanted to do something a little different today. Today I don't want to just share tips and insights. I want to load you up with the templates you can download and use. And I've gone through multiple cycles with the goal of making the templates easy to digest and customizable. I really want to make it easy for you to reflect your company's unique needs and personalities with the deck. So I know I don't have to tell the room here, this job isn't easy. And when I was just beginning to put notes together for this webinar, Jennifer Weinstein posted this on LinkedIn. It really cracked me up. If only open enrollment and benefits education really were like a pumpkin spice latte. So these are too good, so I kind of want to give you a moment to read through them. I'll just take a sip of my latte. Oh my gosh, these are cracking me up again. I especially like the one I asked for open enrollment in the summer, but they say I have to wait for fall. And I did want to thank Jennifer for giving me permission to share this, folks. Okay, so I think I'll start off with a quick poll. As we dive in, I'd like to really get a sense of where to focus today and learn a little bit about you. So let's get this launched. Okay, so I'm really looking to just get a sense of how many open enrollments you've led and what's the average age of your employees. And I'll give a moment for folks to answer the poll, and then I'll share the results. I'm really interested. This is really helpful, guys. Okay, it looks like folks are still answering the question, so give it 5 more seconds here before I end the polling. Oh, a lot of experienced people in the room. I love it. Okay, so I'm going to end the polling now, and let's see. I'll click to share these results so you can see what I see. Okay, thank you. This was really helpful. Okay, so we have a few people that are new, but it looks like most of the group is actually very well versed in benefits. So that's great. And yeah, we've got a mix of folks with a young population and then a little bit older in their 30s. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing these results now and we'll move on. There we go. All right. Thanks for being patient with me here. Okay, so now this is a great segue into the tips. So first I'll go through the tips, and then I'm going to take some time to just walk you through the template so you get a preview of what you can expect. Let's see. So tip 1, assume zero knowledge. And by zero, I really mean 0. No one teaches us health plan fluency. We don't learn it in high school. We don't learn it in college. So about 2/3 of consumers say they have the grasp of basic healthcare insurance terminology, but only half can correctly answer true and false questions about premiums and deductibles. So what's that mean for you and your role as an educator? So I have another question just to give me a sense of whether, let's see, I'm really interested in whether you're going into a passive or an active enrollment. So if you don't mind letting me know that, I'll also share these results. All right, great. We still have a few people answering. Give it like another 5 seconds, and then I'll end and share these results. Okay. Okay, looks like most of you have answered. Let's share. So most of you are going into active, but actually there's a good group of you that have a passive enrollment ahead of you too. So even if there are no changes to your health plans and benefits, for those of you going into a passive enrollment, you'll still want to let employees know that they can make changes during the open enrollment window if they want to. Okay, so also on the topic of the passive enrollment, your company still has some critical decisions to make about what the passive process will look like. Does an employee need to take any action? Or if they do nothing at all and completely ignore open enrollment, are you simply rolling them over into the same plan that they have? It's just really important to set clear expectations with your employees. So here we go. That brings us to our next tip. So tip 2, be a helpful guide. So really, just always, I always keep in mind that once a year, your employees are asked to make a complicated decision, and it's one that could affect their health and their finances. So I want to point out that this time of year, your knowledge is kind of a superpower. And I also wanted to just bring up one thing, because I frequently get asked this question, and it's about whether to use humor in benefits communications materials. I'll just say that you know your group better than anyone. So if you think funny or quirky will help gain interest and attention, I say go for it. I really do want to caution, don't lose sight of the weight of the decision that's on each employee's shoulders. There are real consequences if they choose poorly. So for that reason, for myself, I prefer to focus on just keeping things as simple to understand as possible. I encourage questions, and I work to be as approachable as possible. All right, so you'll want to start at the very beginning, and by the very beginning, I mean the very, very beginning. Really, here's a quick story I want to share to emphasize this point. So there was one time when I was presenting kind of a health plans 101 session for a client ahead of open enrollment. And this was a high-growth company, young population. The average age of the employees was 27. So they were really right in that sweet spot of aging off a parent's plan. And I'll say I was feeling pretty good about my presentation and the level of participation in the room. Most of the questions at the end were on HSAs, which I expected, and maybe one about commuter benefits. Anyway, I thanked the room, started putting away my things, and then I got interrupted with one last question. What's open enrollment? Oh boy, okay, so I should have led with that. I learned that. Now I always lead by explaining that open enrollment is what brings us here together today. So easy does it. Ditch the acronyms, use simple language to help employees feel prepared. Consider allowing more time for your open enrollment meeting, or break it up. Have a separate health plans 101 meeting ahead of time. Take some time with education. Don't rush through it. There is a lot to digest. You might want to offer multiple health plan 101 primers and multiple open enrollment meetings so employees can select a convenient time to attend. I actually have an example that sticks out of the 2 rushed open enrollment meetings. So my husband worked at this tech startup here in the Bay Area. It was just shy of 40 employees, I think. Yeah, about 40 employees. Most of their employees were developers. And the executive staff would only allow 30 minutes for the healthcare rep to present the plan choices. Just one 30-minute meeting. They didn't want to waste any precious time, to take it away from coding because they were up against a product release date. So, I don't have to tell this room, but 30 minutes didn't cut it. And they also just had a few days to make their selections. The window was really short. And then my husband's coworkers found out that I work in benefits. So I got swamped with questions, especially from their young employees and ones who were new to the U.S. healthcare system. And I got hit up by those who were both young and new to the healthcare system. So they really didn't have they didn't allow us enough time to digest the plan options, let alone even really contact their broker or rep with questions. So those were a few busy days for me, for sure. Also, it's really useful to record your sessions and make them available for viewing at home with a spouse or partner. You can even slice and dice your recording up into smaller 5-10 minute chunks. Now, I absolutely understand that recording yourself can be a bit nerve-wracking for most of us. You could do a separate session where it's just you recording, if that makes you feel more comfortable. I get nervous too. Just don't get too inside your own head. Imagine you're speaking to your best friend. That's what I do. I actually have a photo of my bestie taped to my computer this morning. So I'm looking at a very happy picture of Pam. Anyway, the point is these recordings are also extremely useful for new hires, especially if you're at a high growth company and you have dozens or even a lot more than that new employees onboarding over the next several months. You really need to think about a great way to scale your benefits education experience. Outside of your open enrollment and throughout the year, offer ongoing education. Take a few minutes to talk at each all hands or include using your health plan or did you know tips in a company newsletter. You'll want to post open hours to answer questions or simply being available in a common area. I've seen this work out well. Just being nearby, providing some moral support while the employees are making their selections, that can be helpful. It's nice to have someone knowledgeable, reassure that you've done what you meant to do, and you're also right there if a question comes up during the enrollment flow. You could also host a fun event like an employee benefits trivia happy hour with food, with prizes. So, speaking of food, food is always a great way to draw a crowd. I encourage offering food at your one-on-one sessions and your open enrollment meetings. Maybe you could host an open enrollment meeting as a lunch and learn or bring coffee and bagels for breakfast. Actually, I'm going to launch the next poll. Let's see, I'm going to get this going here. I'm just curious about how many folks you are expecting to onboard over the next 12 months. So, Great, I see some folks are answering. We'll give it just like several more seconds to give everybody a chance. Wow, wow, wow. We've got some really high growth companies here. Let me go ahead and end polling and I'll share this with you. Share results. Here we go. Let's see. Let me hit that again. I'm trying to, there we go. Sharing the results now. Thanks for being patient with me, guys. So I am really blown away. We've got a lot that are expecting more than 50 new employees. So maybe I should have made this poll, you know, even broader. Okay, so let's go ahead and stop sharing this and get on with our presentation. Oh, that was just my reminder. Okay, so tip 3, make it personal. You really want to understand the groups within your group. So be relevant. Employees generally have 3 burning questions. What plan is best? How much will it cost? And is my doctor covered? So because this is such a popular question, what plan's best for me? So let's just be very clear on this. Best varies. It depends. It varies widely based on an employee's healthcare needs and the needs of their family. Be mindful that choosing a healthcare plan is also a financial decision, so it really helps to provide cost comparison. What the deductions are per paycheck, what the annual out-of-pocket costs could look like based on their needs, what healthcare needs do they expect in the year ahead, and how do deductibles and out-of-pocket maximums compare? So this might be my favorite slide. So find your James's. However you say it. Okay, so meet my coworker. This is James. And I do want to say thank you to James for letting me use you as an example today. He's young, he's healthy, he's a super HSA advocate, a retirement saver. He always maxes out his HSA, and believe me, he's not shy bragging about it. These conversations come up regularly. So really, find James for each persona, for each group type that you have. Now, I'm really not saying you should call them out by name. Keep it anonymous. But really have your own Jameses in mind when talking through personas and providing example healthcare scenarios. Really segment and target the groups within your group. Consider life stages. Do you have employees hitting 26 and aging off a parent's plan? Employees with a spouse or a domestic partner? Do they have kids? Do they have a kid aging off their plan? Maybe they're thinking about starting a family, or there's a current pregnancy. As we know, pregnancy costs can be quite high. Are there any employees close to retirement? Also, keep in mind how many locations you have. There may be important differences by geography or simply by role. For example, I'm currently developing materials for a high-growth client with both office workers and warehouse workers. So the office workers have computers, but that's not the case for the warehouse employees. So I'm adjusting my communications to make sure there are plenty of old school physical printed materials, like attention-grabbing posters to promote the meeting and to post dates for the open enrollment window. We're also doing posters to count down until the open enrollment window closes. 7 days left to enroll, 3 days, last day. So if you don't already have a strong grasp of your different healthcare user types, use an anonymous employee survey. There are plenty of free tools out there like SurveyMonkey, or personally, I really like Typeform. You can hold small focus groups and ask questions about priorities. Speaking of focus groups, it's always a good idea to test drive your benefits education materials on a small group. Confused expressions or questions can help you identify knowledge gaps, and then you can tweak your materials before you present them to the full organization. Myself, I've learned a lot from practicing my materials in front of Lumity's new hires. Okay, so tip 4, point with top gotchas. Now, for us in this room, these aren't surprising, but I regularly come across employees that don't understand these things. So these are common ones that I see employees trip over. The number one gotcha: Very few people know the difference between asking a provider, do you take my insurance, versus are you in my network? And out of network gets expensive fast. Also, most employees don't realize that plan designs vary by employers, and they can vary widely. So it's super important that you're the one to provide information and answer their questions. Too often, employees ask friends or family, but that information won't be accurate or helpful, because a PPO plan at your company isn't comparable to the same, in air quotes, plan at a friend or parent's workplace. So that brings us to tip 5. Understand your plan design. Make sure you're fluent in your plan design so you can help guide employees through their options based on their personal circumstances. So here are some hypothetical plans of cost. This is really for concept only to show you how you might help employees dimension their annual out-of-pocket costs. So now you'll notice this example shows the free or zero premium on the high deductible health plan. If you pay 100% of the high deductible health plan premium, you can essentially offer a free or extremely low cost health plan. And this is a powerful recruiting tool. And I know a lot of you actually are looking to onboard over 50 new employees over the next 12 months. So this can be a way to deliver a win-win, because it's really possible for you as an employer and your employees to both save money. You just need to optimize your plan design. So this table gets even more granular. I used the example data here, but the idea is to show your actual plan costs and a few scenarios. So it really helps employees get an indication of what their annual costs might be. I'm just showing 2 plans side by side to keep this example simple. You'll want to show a side-by-side comparison, though, for each of your plans. All example data will need to be updated to reflect your actual plan costs. I want to point out here, notice that my examples show an employer HSA contribution. So if you make an employer HSA contribution, really, this is your chance to highlight how that factors in. A healthy employee might even make money. So this might seem like an awful lot of work, and it is, believe me. As someone who focuses on benefits education year-round, I know. Lumity built a business on delivering an end-to-end benefits solution, pairing technology and people service, so employers and their employees get a better personalized experience. I just want to point out, so our clients do have access to this side-by-side comparison in our Ben admin portal, and a live knowledgeable support staff that they can go to with their questions to help with, for example, if any claims issues come up throughout the year. And they also get a recommendation on which plan might be suited for them based on the lowest out-of-pocket annual cost. The choice is still up to them. So, okay, enough insight into Lumity. Really, my point is, the load doesn't have to fall on your shoulders. Your broker should be handling so much of this on your behalf. Okay, so now we're on to the part that I expect most people were most excited about. It's probably the reason why you joined us today. Actually, templates that you can download and use and save you some time. So I want to show you, just kind of give you an overview of what's inside. So the toolkit has an open enrollment checklist, an open enrollment presentation template. It also includes a big section on understanding health plans. You'll get an HSA education deck and a benefit summary, like a single page, 2-sided document. 2 flyers also for promoting your open enrollment. So the checklist. There are a lot of moving pieces during open enrollment, so this checklist is intended to help you stay sorted. Pre-enrollment, you'll want to plan ahead so you can minimize rushing at the last minute. Make a list of everything new and exciting. Are there changes coming? What do your employees need to know? What will they need to do? For example, if you're having a passive enrollment, it's possible one option is to do nothing. think about what matters from the employee's perspective. Really put yourself in your shoes. Keep track of your frequently asked questions, comments, concerns that come up. This pre-enrollment period, it's also a good time to survey your employees and get in front of those small focus groups to get feedback. What's great? What's not so great? What changes would they like to see? Also, put together your open enrollment schedule, including a communication timeline. Start sharing knowledge, like having those Health Plan 101 sessions, benefits trivia. Maybe a save the date heads up in an all hands meeting so people just kind of start thinking about benefits, and share your FAQs. So during enrollment, check that your plans are in compliance and that you've provided all, that you have all the required notices together. It will be important to make sure employees have all the materials they need, like open enrollment schedule and deadlines, plan-specific changes and rates, plan summaries, resources, and contact info. Oh, by the way, you'll likely, while you likely already include website links to resources, this is a popular tip that I came across, especially for links to resources like Find It in-network doctor tools. There's likely an app for that, especially those of you who said that you have a really young group. They're going to like the app. All the medical providers definitely have an iOS and Android app. Employees can install their carrier's app to do the things they want to, like track their overall deductible and out-of-pocket expenses. They can review their claims. They can look for their in-network providers. And they'll also have access to virtual ID cards. Also, HSA administrators have apps too. So I'm including links to a lot of the relevant apps in the OE presentation template. So hopefully that'll take some of the load off of you tracking those down. Post-enrollment. So check enrollment submissions for missing info, for mistakes. You'll be submitting your enrollment forms to the carrier, following up to make sure all your employees have received their ID cards, and make sure that your employees don't have any outstanding questions. And like I mentioned before, throughout the year, consider offering ongoing employee education. Doing this will allow an employee the chance to learn more about their benefits. It really lets them learn outside of the hectic open enrollment season when they might be stressed about making a decision. And then they'll be better prepared for next year. All right, so now let's get to it. I'm going to walk you through, give you a preview of the templates that you'll be downloading today. So by intention, the template is easy to customize. So you can really give it your company's unique flavor and personality. Add your logo, swap out images for your own. There's 50 slides included in this open enrollment presentation deck, but please don't feel overwhelmed. I firmly believe it's easier to edit and delete than create from scratch, so just remove the slides you don't need. So the open enrollment presentation also includes a section on understanding health plans. This section can be used as a standalone piece if you wanted to go over the basics before open enrollment. Remember, give your employees digestible chunks. The goal here is that you want your employees to head into their open enrollment meeting feeling kind of comfortable, feeling prepared, having their questions ready. So I just want to give you a preview of some of the slides in the Understanding Health Plan section. So I'm pointing out here that now I do start with defining what is open enrollment. So let's see, we'll get just a couple preview of the slides here. You'll see the next step, explaining what a qualifying life event is. Premium. Okay, this was added here because this is one that trips up folks, especially if you have employees that are covering their domestic partner on the plan. You definitely don't want to be in the situation where they are drastically shocked, like just shocked that they're paying taxes on their partner's healthcare coverage. So, and actually this is, I really wanted to point another thing out here. So it's a note about notes. So I just wanted to point out that I've included additional information in the notes section of the open enrollment deck. Many of the slides provide more details in case you get questions during your open enrollment presentation. Questions that come up, I've just added notes so that hopefully the information is at your fingertips. So just to give you a sense of some of the other definitions or terms that are explained in this deck, we go in to explain deductible, preventive care, in-network, out-of-pocket max, co-pay, co-insurance, plan design, and then it also gets into the different plan types like PPO, HMO, EPO. So the idea is to really get them comfortable with the terms that they're going to be seeing a lot of during open enrollment. So the deck also includes plan descriptions, you know, medical, dental, vision, and life templates. These are ready for you to put your own information in there. Oh, so this example scenario, I just wanted to point out that this is in the deck, you know, ready for you to customize with your details. So tax advantage accounts. So the deck also includes information on these tax advantage accounts. It also includes the rules around having an SSA and an HSA at the same time. Like, this is a common question that comes up, so we included this as well. So the open enrollment presentation template also includes links to Lumity's knowledge base. The knowledge base is open access, so there's no login required. Feel free to use this as one of your resources if you find it helpful. See here. Here's a preview of one of the articles in the knowledge base. This one provides a short video describing, you know, what is an HSA. Notice there's a search box too. Users can enter a topic to find related content. This knowledge base has been a labor of love for me. It's intended to be a helpful resource using simple language and video. Over the next few weeks, I'll actually be adding more content based on questions and learnings that came out of creating these open enrollment presentation templates. For example, watch for upcoming articles on imputed income and also commuter benefits. Actually, I've got a bit of a backlog now. But if you notice something missing, please let me know. The more feedback I get from HR pros, the better this gets. Also, just wanted to show up, there's a glossary here. So if you notice the term is missing, just yesterday actually, I realized UCR wasn't in there. So usual, customary, and reasonable. And that brings us to my quick poll reminder. So let me get this one going. This is our last poll today. I actually, let's see. Go ahead and let's launch that poll. So this is the final poll, and it's about health savings accounts. So I really want to get information on, you know, whether you offer an HSA eligible plan, and if you do offer one, are you making an employer contribution? So I'm going to give this just, you know, like another 10 or 15 seconds to make sure everybody has a chance to answer. Oh, this is great. I see people are still filling this out. Okay, looks like we've got all the results now. So let me just end this poll and I'll share the results here so you can see what I'm seeing. Okay, so most of you do offer an HSA eligible plan. A few of you considering it. And it looks like over half of you are making an employer contribution to the HSA. Okay, thank you guys. This is really helpful. I'm going to stop sharing the results now and get back into the presentation. So actually, I want to share a little bit from Lumity's research into HSAs. We learned that 51% of employers reported a lack of employee education as the main obstacle to HSA adoption. So just for a little background into the research, more than 400 HR and finance professionals completed Lumity's 2018 HSA survey, and then 97 professionals participated in HSA market research calls. So we had the opportunity to talk with a lot of folks about this. And in case you're curious about our other findings from this, I've included a link to more information on my last slide. It includes more graphs and charts, but more importantly, it includes actionable steps you can take to help drive HSA adoption. So, okay, that brings me to my absolute favorite deck. It's a very simple description of what an HSA is and how to use it. It really is designed to help your employees get solid footing on this. So I know some of you aren't offering an HSA, but I'm still going to go through this because this can really be great information to share as long as you're offering a high deductible health plan. Many employees don't realize that they can open up an HSA on their own at their bank, even if you're not offering one. So I'll go ahead and give you a preview of a few of the slides here, just so you get a sense of what this deck looks like. So, you know, think of an HSA as a health 401k. We found that this kind of message it really resonates because folks kind of have a good idea or a grasp of what a 401k is. And so using a familiar term really helps reinforce the understanding. Also pointing out that, hey, this is a personal account, you own it. And also that the funds roll over. So this gave you kind of a preview of what the information looks like. There are 35 other easy to follow slides. And by the end, your employees should have a really good foundation. Also, remember when I mentioned hosting an employee benefits trivia happy hour with food and prizes? Consider following up this presentation with trivia to reinforce the learning. So the downloadable templates, I've also included 2 flyers to announce open enrollment. So one to announce open enrollment, and then the second one is just to let people know that the window is closing. You can include them in all hands meetings, post them in common areas. Take a screenshot and make a PDF and share them by email or post to your intranet. As a heads up, we are getting close to the Q&A session. So if you'd like to post a question, you know, now's a good time. So also, there's a benefit summary included. This is a Word doc. It's a single sheeter, so it's really intended to serve as a quick reference for your employees or something to share with job candidates. I'm really hoping that you find the templates useful. Like I said, they've gone through multiple iterations based on feedback from the HR community. And I'd love to get your feedback too. So just to kind of review the 5 tips I've covered today: assume zero knowledge, don't nada, be a helpful guide. You know, you've got a superpower this time of year. Use your power for good. Make it personal. Point out the common gotchas, and understand your plan design so you can speak to it. So really, this is the end of my presentation, and I'll be moving on to Q&A. Looks like quite a few questions have come in. If you'd like to submit yours still, you can still click the Q&A button and send it over. And in case you're not staying around for Q&A, there's a brief survey when you exit the webinar. I'm interested in learning how you rate me as a speaker and whether you found the content useful. Also, keep an eye out for a follow-up email tomorrow. It'll have the SHRM code for your CE credit, and I'll include a link to the templates and the PDF of today's presentation. Also, just a word on this HSA playbook. it's based on Lumity's 2018 HSA survey and the market research calls. It's hot off the press. We just finalized it yesterday. God, yes, yesterday. And I was really excited to include it here. It's loaded with practical steps you can take to help drive HSA adoption and lower healthcare costs for you as an employer and also for your employees. Okay, all right, enough of that. Okay, so on to your question. So let's see. Ooh. Okay, so we've got a question here. This was a hard one. This one isn't as easy to communicate. How do you recommend communicating when you are taking away or reducing benefits? Okay, so sometimes the communication materials are filled with wonderful news and your, premium costs are going down, more benefits are being added. But there are times when that's just not the case. And maybe rates are going up or you're taking away, benefits. So really I want to focus on, for these communications, you're going to need to be very genuine and upfront with your employees. Be honest with them. Really, it's very helpful to pull in the business reasons why this has happened, why this is going on. And really, you just want to be upfront with them and not let this sneak up on employees. You want to get ahead of it. Often I recommend talking about this in an all-hands meeting. It's very helpful to have some of your executive staff or strategic business leaders talk about the goals for the company, where you found yourself right now. There are times when maybe you're up against a really high renewal rate. Maybe your group's health risk is actually quite high. And let's say that it's for a fair reason. You've got folks that have, that are up against, that have high medical needs. So just make sure you get ahead of this. Be honest, be genuine. Setting clear expectations of what's happening and why, it helps people be prepared. They might have to do a little financial planning on their own to make up for needing to spend more or not having access to all the benefits they're used to. Okay. Sorry, I'm laughing out loud because we see this all the time. So people procrastinate until the end. What can we do about this? So this is probably the most common thing that happens. Like people, again, a lot of that procrastination is because the information is overwhelming. It's a lot to digest. It's like filing your taxes. People sometimes will prefer filing their taxes to choosing a health plan. So I would say we've often seen that the procrastination as a direct result is tied to feeling overwhelmed by the choices and not having an easy way to, not feeling confident in your ability to make a good choice. So, and actually as a side note, I just want to mention, and you probably already know this, often it's your CEO or your executive staff who is the biggest procrastinator. And I will say that even when your company is in the healthcare business like Lumity, that even happens to us. Our CEO is the last one to enroll, but he did make it before the midnight deadline. So what can you do about this? Again, giving information in digestible chunks, communicating a clear timeline. Also, it's, being present, being available, maybe saying, hosting times when you'll be in a common break area, so that, folks who are going through enrolling, just have somebody nearby who has a superpower, who can answer any questions. Just having more open hours like that to just be available. That we've seen that work as well. Oh, here's a good one, and actually I like this because I'm such an HSA advocate. So we got a question about increasing HSA participation. So actually, this playbook that the one that's hot off the press, really this is the whole story here. The whole playbook is designed around driving more participation. So I will say that you should have answers to everything through the playbook, but I'll give you the high-level executive summary. So increasing HSA participation, I'm going to just say money talks. Making an employer contribution, I'm tripping over that word. Making an employer contribution absolutely gets people's attention and drives interest in the plan. And so you might be thinking, oh, well, you know, I'm not trying to, I'm trying to keep health costs, steady. I'm not, wanting to give away money. Well, actually, you can make a contribution and still as an employer being, pay less on premiums, because the high deductible health plan premiums are so much less than the traditional PPO that with a good plan design strategy, optimizing your plan design, you can really deliver a win-win for you and your employees. And yeah, and so there's a lot more information in the playbook on like some of the results we've seen and kind of the, benchmarks on what employers are contributing. I did get a question more about Lumity. So how do you help people choose the right plan? Are there any tools out there that you recommend? Okay, well, I might be biased here because I work for Lumity. I actually love working for Lumity. So how we help employees choose the right plan. I had mentioned that Lumity provides an end-to-end benefit solution. So we work with employers and employees. So part of the solution, so we have technology and we pair it with service. We've got a support staff. But as employees are going through open enrollment, for Lumity clients, they would use our Ben admin portal, and actually kind of those side-by-side comparisons, they show up, and we highlight and recommend based on out-of-pocket costs. We will suggest a plan. They're certainly available to override it, but we definitely give them kind of a guided, personalized, decision-making guidance. So hopefully that answers your question. Will a recording be available? Absolutely. So, I believe we'll have that. We should have that recording available, and I'll send an email out tomorrow with links to the templates. We got one question in about how to download the template, so I think that probably got answered on this slide because I do have the links posted here. Okay, so another good question. So do you have more education on how a high deductible health plan works, the pros and cons, because this is often confusing to employees. Yeah, so the thing about the HSAs is you kind of got a 1-2 hit, right? You've got two things that you got to navigate, explain. First, what is a high deductible health plan? How does that work? And then how you can complement it, pair it with an HSA to reduce your costs. So, so you'll notice when you go through the HSA education, actually, because it's kind of that 1-2 punch, the high deductible health plan with the HSA, there is information in that material about what to expect from a high deductible health plan. It definitely points out some of the things that you don't want your employees to be surprised by. For example, that you're paying, the front end of the year, you're going to be, we don't want them to be surprised that they're paying 100% of costs until they hit their high deductible health plan, until they hit that deductible number. So we definitely point that out. But really, the annual cost is typically a lot less. And certainly, if you're making a contribution to your employees' HSA, that contribution offsets their cost. And again, healthy employees, they can make money off of this. So they definitely have an incentive to choose the high deductible health plan. So, oh, should we be using a financial incentive for the HSA plan? So you probably got this answer already because I do like to sing the song that money talks. Yeah, so it definitely, absolutely without doubt, increases the uptake. And actually out of the, from our survey results, I'm going to actually make sure that I understand the stats. So out of the survey results, we found that 63% of the employers who offer an HSA actually make a contribution. And without doubt, that drives adoption. Okay. Oh, okay, so this is kind of, okay, so who are good candidates for an HSA plan? So easy candidates to identify. There's, in the HSA playbook, I actually speak to this and I break it up into 4 personas, 4 different types. But the easiest ones to go after are your healthy employees. The ones that are low, have low utilization of the health plan. So these are often young employees, but definitely your healthy employees are great targets because for sure these are the ones that are most likely to actually make money off of choosing the plan. And then there's some other scenarios, maybe with a family and children, maybe it doesn't make sense to go with the HSA plan. You certainly, if there's looking to start a family over the next year, or there's already a pregnancy, those often aren't good candidates. But you'd be surprised for, there are candidates that have really high utilization, that have really high medical costs, and these are the most value driven, due to those, their high healthcare utilization. So actually, the HSA eligible plan may be the most cost effective option because your employer contribution can help offset their costs. So, when they're comparing side by side the traditional PPO versus the high deductible health plan, maybe when they're looking side by side, it'll often be very similar, the cost, but then if you're making the contribution to the HSA plan, that can really help them offset their overall annual cost. So, yeah, so let's see. Ooh, do you know of employers that pay the premium for the employee only and then contribute to an HSA account? Yes, lots of them. Many Lumity's clients. And I would say it's fair to say that most of our clients are high-tech, high-growth areas. And because this is such a competitive job market, it's very typical to structure the plan design in such a way that that the employee only high deductible health plan, the premium zero or extremely low cost, but many of our clients actually offer a free plan for the employee only, and then still make substantive, I can't say that word, make a substantial contribution to the HSA. And that really is helpful in supporting your business's growth strategy. So, oh wow, this hour went by really quick. I'm actually going to wrap this up now. You'll definitely have a copy of the materials, the deck that I sent today. So do watch for an email from me tomorrow. I also definitely want to thank everybody for joining today. And please remember to stay in touch. I really do invite you to follow Lumity on LinkedIn or reach out directly at benefits@lumity.com. I've included my LinkedIn, I've included my LinkedIn contact information. I would love to connect with you folks and get your feedback. Keep the feedback coming. If you identify gaps in any of the materials or there's a burning question, reach out. Thank you again today. This has been great, and I've been really happy to go through this with you.